I grew up in Brookfield and went to school there, kindergarten through senior in high school at the same place. With 18 classmates, I graduated in 1965, and off I went to the State University of Albany, leaving home really for the first time in my life. I wasn't really happy there. I realized it wasn't the right place for me, but I did make it through 2 years, and after that my fiancé and I were married and we moved to Key West, Florida, where he was stationed in the Navy. We lived there for a year. Jim was discharged, and then we moved back to New York. He went to the Albany Medical Center to train as an X-ray tech, but decided it wasn't really for him, so we both ended up working for about a year after that in Albany. I really didn't participate in the decision-making process at all because I really didn't know I could. I didn't really feel like that was my place. That was my husband's job. That's what my mother had always done, so I guess I just followed that lead. So my job, when I moved back to Brookfield, was at Utica College, a place that values education as Colgate does. We were allowed to take 2 classes per semester, and we didn't even have to make up the time. We could just go to class, and it was free. So the 2 people that I worked with were taking a great history class, and they talked about it all the time, so I decided I would enroll in it too. They both got B's, and I got an A, and I was so proud of myself to be able to compete with them. I left Utica College when our son was born in 1972, a bit regretful to leave behind the educational experience. I really did enjoy taking those classes. In 1975, I worked briefly for the local hospital in Hamilton, where I learned about a job at Colgate University, so I applied for that. It was 1976. In April, I started working at Colgate, and I saw my first computer ever. It was really exciting. It took up a whole room, 1 computer. It was just for the academic side. Administrative computing was done someplace else. The professors in the computer science department and the people in the computer center were very gracious in extending learning opportunities to me. They gave me a little computer I could take home. I had a lot of opportunities at Colgate. I did a number of different jobs. I started working more with students, which I really liked, and doing some more teaching the students how to operate the computers, teaching people how to use the different software and programs that run on the computer, and I found I really liked doing that. I saw a sign about a telecommunications bachelor's degree at the State University of New York at Utica, Rome, so I picked up a flyer, brought it home, and applied. I matriculated in 1988 for my bachelor's degree, which I finally got, taking 1 class a semester in 2001. Working mothers work really hard to try to get everything done, and it is a balancing act. We didn't have dinners back then like we do now. There were a lot of hot dog nights and soup, and off to a soccer game or to pick Jay up and go someplace with him. It's really hard to take time to go to school during that. Not just to go to class, which was difficult enough to drive an hour after having worked all day in the snow and ice, sit in class for 3 hours, then drive almost an hour back home. It made a long day, and it was hard to keep it up. In the late 90s, a friend of mine, Jackie DeMore, and I together formed a group at Colgate called the Lifelong Learners. We were both taking classes, she at Morrisville and me in Utica, and several of our friends were doing the same thing. We decided we'd have a little support group, so we booked a place for lunch. We all ate, and everybody went around the table and told what they were taking and what their goal was. This was really fun. We thought we should do more of that. So we got together and had this group for several years, probably 4 or 5 years. We met regularly and did stress management and general support. I love to read and can't even imagine not being able to read, but there are thousands of illiterate people, adults, in Madison County. So I took some literacy training from the Oneida Library to learn how to be a volunteer reading tutor, and I worked with several different people over the years. One was a particularly memorable woman who didn't know how to spell her children's name. That was one of the reasons she came to work with me. That was our project, so she could spell her children's name, and actually she could read well enough to read stories to her grandchildren by the end of our time together.